Hello, everyone, and happy St. Patrick's Day. So, I am posting this in the afternoon. Normally, I try to do these in the morning, but today it just was not happening. I slept in, I've been enjoying my day off, but now I'm ready to talk about some weather because we do have some things heading our way, not only here in Middle Tennessee, where I live, but also in other spots around the country. So, there's a lot to talk about. We've got a pretty potent system arriving and more active weather on the way. And it's that time of year where we really start to see severe weather coming into play. It can happen anytime, as we've seen, but you know how spring goes for a lot of folks. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead. If you don't feel like it, that's okay too. But just thank you for watching, and let's go ahead and talk about severe potential tonight. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the severe weather potential tonight, and we have a slight risk that it extends from Oklahoma into Louisiana, into portions of Mississippi. And here's the thing, this is kind of overnight into tomorrow morning. Remember, these risks continue until 6 a.m. the next day. And if you take a look at the categories, we've got a pretty good tornado risk there in Louisiana, Mississippi. Also, damaging winds and hail are going to be possible. So let's take a look at what our models are showing us. First up, I have HRRR, and this is going to give you a good idea of what radar might look like in the next few hours. So this threat for severe weather starts up in the Oklahoma, Texas area, starting around 6 o'clock. And you can start to see some thunderstorms developing there in Oklahoma. And they really get going, and you just start to see this big cluster of convection forming. And this is going to press east into Louisiana, into Mississippi, into tomorrow. So this is going to be through the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. So this is 9 o'clock. This is when you see most of the convection there in Oklahoma, even up into Kansas. And you see that big cluster of storms moving into Louisiana. We're going to go ahead and throw this over to the southeast so you can really start to see how these storms are developing into 1 o'clock. So this is when a lot of folks are asleep, and you see these storms really firing up there in Louisiana. This is 4 o'clock in the morning into Mississippi, and then continuing into Tennessee, into Alabama, eventually into Georgia. And this is about where our model stops. But I wanted to kind of give you an idea of how this is going to play out tonight through 8 a.m. tomorrow. Now let's talk about some severe weather potential. The first thing we're looking at here is Supercell Composite. And basically, this is going to give you an idea about how likely it is to see supercells form. And remember, supercells are a lot of times what produces severe weather. Now, you can get severe weather even without supercells, of course, but this gives you a good idea, a good understanding a lot of times of the potential for tornadoes. And also, storms that can produce some pretty big hail. So from Oklahoma down into central Texas, looking at some pretty good numbers there. And then as we head into the early morning hours, you start to see things shifting over into southern Louisiana, into Mississippi. And this is where you really have the energy going and things getting pretty active through those morning hours. Now, the other thing I'm going to look at is significant tornado parameter, because this is something that, definitely can give you an idea of how likely you are to see tornadoes. So 6 o'clock, you really see those firing up there where that dry air is meeting up with that Gulf moisture, and that is often an area where you see severe weather happening. So it looks pretty impressive there in Texas, even into portions of Oklahoma. But look at what's going on in southern Louisiana. And remember that Storm Prediction Center really had that bullseye for tornadoes in southern Louisiana into Mississippi. There it is. There's that significant tornado parameter. So these are early morning storms, 3, 4 a.m. to about 8, 9 a.m. You certainly need to be keeping an eye on things and having a way to get woken up by warnings. Maybe get up a little earlier tomorrow, have your coffee, because there is going to be a pretty decent chance for some tornadoes, and we want to make sure that you are safe for that. And this is not the only thing that's going to happen with this system. Let's go ahead and move it into day 2 and day 3. So let's take a look at what's happening as we head into the rest of the day on Friday. Now, we're going to take a look at everything going on after 6 a.m., and that's the day 2 risks that we're looking at right now at the Storm Prediction Center. Slight risk going all the way from southern Illinois and Indiana, into Kentucky, into portions of Tennessee here, all the way down to the coast. And there's an enhanced risk too in southeast Mississippi, southern Alabama there, and the far western edge there of Florida. And basically, there's going to be a chance for tornadoes in the morning. That's going to be my main concern in that area. And this system, once again, producing all types of threats. You got that hash 10% risk for tornadoes there. You really need to be on alert if you're in the enhanced region. Wind threat all the way up, into Kentucky and beyond. And hail, also a concern with this, especially as you're getting a little closer to that low pressure. So let's go ahead and take a look at what radar may be looking like. So here's that North American model. I've got the clock at 8 a.m. and we're going to just continue to move this along. And you can see that powerful sort of line of storms developing and pushing east through Alabama into Georgia. There's that threat also for, tornadoes along the Gulf there. And we also have a threat for more storms tomorrow night, even up into Tennessee and to Kentucky and beyond. And we're just going to monitor the system. Could even have a threat for storms as we head into Saturday. So that's what we're looking at with this. Let's take a look at some severe weather parameters and really get a little bit more detail onto what you can expect. So here's a look at CAPE, and this gives you an idea of how much energy there's to work with. And there's some pretty big values there in Louisiana. And this is through Friday morning. This is around 1 o'clock, 2, 3. And you can see, there's plenty of juice to work with. And that's one of the concerns for severe weather. That's why we're watching things carefully with this system. The other thing we're watching is that chance for supercells and tornadoes. So let's take a look at Supercell Composite and the significant tornado parameter. So this is 8 a.m. Friday, and notice, some pretty high numbers from Louisiana into Alabama. It even stretches up into Tennessee before continuing off to the east. And when you look at the significant tornado parameter, it's going to look pretty similar too. And look at those numbers there, that bright purple showing up in Alabama. So there is that potential for some spin ups with this through Friday evening, and then things really start to taper down, at least in a lot of spots. But you need to be cautious and notice even into Saturday, we're still looking at the potential for some severe weather, which leads me to day 3. We're going to go ahead and take a quick look at that. So we have a slight risk that stretches, from Georgia all the way up into eastern Virginia, kind of going up into the mid-Atlantic with this system. So, the risk for severe weather continues into Saturday. As we head into tomorrow, I'll do another update so you can kind of get a better look at what's happening with day 2 and day 3. Just know that this event is going to produce multiple rounds of severe storms over the course of a few days. And we're really getting to the time of year where this is going to be more and more common. Speaking of, we're going to look at threats as we head into next week. So now we're taking a look at what's happening into next week. This is Monday. And the reason I'm showing you this is because it's kind of unusual to see that orange there and that yellow is a slight and enhanced risk this far out. So this is day 5. And basically, we're looking at a pretty powerful storm system setting up, and we're already looking at a pretty good severe weather signature. So, if you're in Central Texas, which is, kind of my old stomping grounds there, anywhere from Austin up through Waco into the Dallas area and further east, you really need to be watching things carefully through the weekend into Monday so you know what to expect, because we're going to start to get more details and really understand this system a little bit better. But this, as it continues to push east, there's Tuesday, there's Wednesday. So we're looking at another round of potentially severe thunderstorms moving pretty much in the same area that we're seeing them through the weekend. So we're not done yet. Let's take a look at the bigger picture, and we'll talk about why we're concerned about this system. So as we get closer to Monday, you're going to hear more and more about this system. And some folks are going to be in a little bit of a tizzy. And, well, there's a lot of reasons for that. It's looking like there is that chance, a pretty good sign that there's going to be some strong storms out of this. And that's why that Storm Prediction Center outlook for Monday is already in place. And it's usually a little unlikely, a little unusual that you see it that far out for that kind of, risk. So here's why. You see a trough really getting going Monday, and it tilts negatively. And that's a big sign that severe weather is going to be possible. And that's why they're already kind of highlighting that Texas region. Now, Tomorrow through the weekend, I'm going to give you more details on that. Just know, as we head into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're certainly going to need to stay weather aware. And those folks in Texas, Monday, it's going to be possibly a pretty big day for you guys. So keep it here for the latest information. And thank you so much for sticking with me. I know I'm still getting I'm still getting a handle on how to do these videos, but I do appreciate you watching and just want to make sure you stay safe out there. So take care, and I'll talk to you guys later.